All right. It is time, people. It is time. Uh-oh. I got my dude Michael Sartain in the building. What's going on, man? How's it going? How's it going?
What's going on, man? It's so great, man. I've been watching your stuff like the last 4 or 5 days. I'll probably watch 40 or 50 of your videos, man, because this is really interesting stuff. I got a bunch of clients that live in New York, and so I'm always interested on how everybody does things in different parts of the country.
That's what's up, man. Well, shout out to you for being here, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to all you guys coming through. You know what I mean? We got Michael here for a short time, so we're going to just jump right into this, man. So for the people who don't know who you are, man, tell everybody who you are, what you do. I know you do like a million things, you know what I'm saying? So let people know what's going on with you.
So I think probably the thing I'm probably most known for is my podcast, the Michael Sartain podcast. I do one on evolutionary psychology. I've had Dr. David Buss on. I've had other discussions about evolutionary psychology. I'm trying to get GADSAT on and people like that. I have everyone from like, Dan Bilzerian's been on there, Ty Lopez, Jay Cutler. I try to get people in there and we just discuss like basically evolutionary psychology in terms of mating is, stuff like that. Rollo Tomasi came on, Justin Waller came on. Andrew Tate actually reached out to me. And then he was the one who introduced me to Justin Waller. And then Tristan Tate's coming on in a couple of weeks. I had to go to Jamaica and I came back and then I'm going to Mexico next week to host the Swimsuit USA World Championships. And then after that, I'm having Tristan on. And then Andrew and I are discussing whether or not we're going to do one in December here, or if he's not coming here, then we'll just do one over Zoom. But the other reason why people know who I am is because I host the 2 biggest bikini competitions in the world. I host the Playboy Presents Yandy Summer Search for $130,000. It's 200 girls that compete. I recruit all of the girls, and I'm also the MC. And I also am the host of Swimsuit USA's World Championship in Mexico. That's 75 contestants. I'm also the host of the Black Tape Project in Jamaica, the Jamaica Paradise Challenge. That's 250 girls. It's not a bikini competition. It's more of like a destination photo shoot. And then I also host Miss Brazil USA. I'm also the host of the Model Citizen Fund, and I'm the host of, I'm a ring announcer for what's called Smash Global. So I do a bunch of these charity events. The main charity event I do, though, is Babes in Toyland, which is an influencer charity. So basically, we get 300 FHM, Maxim, Playboy models. They come out. We raise money for animal rescue. We raise money for human trafficking. We raise money for troops overseas. We raise money for domestic abuse, stuff like that. So that's basically what I'm known for. And then I have MOA mentoring, which is where I teach guys basically a networking course. It's not necessarily a dating course, but it's your network is your net worth. Your network can get you anything and your network can take you anywhere. Because what I saw was the most unfulfilled portion of self-help was logistics. Like if I want to play in the NBA, do I want to go to the rec league or do I want to go to the G League? If I want to play professional football, do I want to play at, Kent State or do I want to play at Alabama? If I want to be a venture capitalist, do I want to live in Des Moines, Iowa, or do I want to live in Silicon Valley? So one of the things we don't talk about enough is logistics. I live on the Strip here in Las Vegas. I'm literally right next to the Aria. And part of the reason why I do that is because it's incredible as far as networking is concerned. And so that's one of the things we go over. I used to get invited to the Playboy Mansion all the time. Dan Bilzerian came to my birthday party last year. In 2 days, Rollo Tomasi is coming out here, and he's coming to my birthday. We have 55 girls coming with us to Zook. And so basically what I teach my clients is if you can do this with influencers where you can get dozens and dozens of influencers to come to your events, when you're trying to run like a mortgage broker convention, or if you're trying to get all the accountants in your city, or if you're a plastic surgeon trying to network with other plastic surgeons or whatever, that's fucking easy mode. That is easy mode compared to trying to get, walking into a club with 70 girls. When I go to the Maxim party, I never have fewer than 100 girls with me. When I go to the Wish Mansion, I never have fewer than 70 girls with me. And when I do a nightclub event, I never have fewer than 20. And so we go over the ways that you can do that. And then I put 15 Instagrams in the chat earlier to show you my clients, and they have all had similar success. I basically teach you the leadership component of networking, the entrepreneurship component of networking, and then also, hey, how do we show up to an event with 70 girls? That's kind of one of the other things that I teach. And I expect people to be skeptical. That's why I put all my receipts up on Instagram. That's why I put all the receipts. There's 50 testimonials on moamentoring.com.
That's crazy. And so listen, guys, the guy that you are seeing on this screen knows more women than you probably know people. You know what I'm saying? Because this dude has been networking like crazy. And I think this is very important because people got to understand that, like, networking is big just in general when it comes to, being successful in life, a lot of times people don't understand. It's like, if you know this person and you know that person, you could get these things going, you could get things happening easier. And especially for guys, even when it comes to, dealing with women, right? The fact that you were able to get this many women to come to these places, to know who you are, to know them, you understand? I think that's big, where a lot of guys don't understand that if you have access, right, this can help you out in a lot of different areas. But I want to ask you this: what gave you the idea of coming up with a podcast? Like, when did that begin? Like, what was the thought of the podcast, and how did that all come together?
I'll tell you what happened. So I was dating this girl, and we had 5 months. It was a COVID relationship. Shout out to all the COVID relationships.
Right,
you don't know if you don't know if they're crazy, because it's COVID. You don't get to meet their family, their friends. We were just having a wild time. We were having threesomes all the time. She was bringing girls home. She was cooking for me. Like, the whole thing was just like awesome, right? Near the end of the relationship, things just started to fall apart. And I was like, okay, listen, I want to end this. I'm going to go my way. You go your way. Right. Well, she didn't like that. And so she started lying to a bunch of people that I worked with and got me fired from one of my jobs. She got me fired, bro, from a charity. I was raising money for kids, for homeless kids. And she got me fired from my gig. So I said, I will never let anybody lie about me again. I went into the podcast studio. They had been asking me for months to do my own podcast, because I've been a guest on several of them. Shout out to Sticky Paws Studios here in Las Vegas. They host about half the podcasts here are hosted there. Some of the other ones are hosted at the Wynn. And I went in there. I did my first episode. I had a Playmate on with a fighter pilot. It was, and that was the name of the episode. It was the Playmate meets the fighter pilot. And I tried to show like the commonalities that we all have as human beings, and why those commonalities exist. Because as Homo sapiens, 300,000 years of Homo sapien evolution, we're all looking for higher sexual selection. We're all looking for higher status. Why is that? Where does that come from? What are the evolutionary pressures that created that? And then after a while, I finally got, my favorite author, which is Dr. David Buss from University of Texas at Austin. He's the world's foremost evolutionary psychologist in terms of mating. And I had him on my podcast, and a lot of the theories that I had from my year. Oh, by the way, I used to manage a strip club when I was in college. Well, the theories that I'd come up with for these years, and I also was a military officer. I flew KC-135 as a navigator for 7 years. Well, all these theories that I'd come up with about status and hierarchy and leadership, I wanted to see, was there a scientific backing behind everything? So, for instance, you guys call it pre-selection. There's a term for it in science. It's called the mate copying strategy. They actually test this with different vertebrates, where they put pairs of animals near. They do this with rats. They do this with geese. They do this with monkeys. They do this with all these different types of mammals. And when they do it, the ones that have the most females near them are the ones that get chosen more. So this is not some cultural thing that we made up, where we see a guy who has money and girls are screaming at him. This is ubiquitous amongst all vertebrate species, where we see this, right? There's a few exceptions, like bonobos don't do this, but for the most part, this is what happens. I wanted a scientific backing behind what I was seeing empirically, and that's what Dr. David Buss got me. So that's why that's what the podcast became about. It's mainly about evolutionary psychology.
So interesting. So now you have is it a program or a course or a group of men? You have something called Men of Action. So can you explain that? What does that mean? And guys, I have the link at the top of the chat, so you guys can check that out. It's MOA. Is it MOA?
MOA mentoring. Just go to moamentoring.com. If you go there, there's a 7-minute VSL you guys can check out, and there's 50 testimonials and case studies. We actually have more. We just haven't filmed them all. Pretty much, I try to get a case study or testimonial from every single one of my clients. I think I'm at 420 something clients right now, and I think we've had 3 refunds. One of them, the guy just didn't have the money, and 2 of them were literally just trying to steal my they're trying to screen cap it and then post it up on 1337. You know what I'm saying? Post it on a torrent. So he's just trying to steal it, because right at the 30 days, he's like, oh yeah, I want my money back. We rarely, if ever, have refunds. Basically what it is, the first initial 4 pillars are leadership, entrepreneurship, mindset, and social networking. So basically it's like this, man. You're over 40. You remember back in the day when dudes were like passing out mixtapes out of the back of their car when they were trying to get famous. Exactly. So this is 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. The only chance I got is if I hand you my mixtape. That's my only shot. Right. Or when guys were trying to play Division I high school football, they had to pass out a video cassette to recruiters, and it was 1 and 1 and 1. Now, you and I, we sell our products, and we talk to our clients, and we talk to our base over social media. Right. Infinite. Like logistically, there's nothing to stop 1 billion people from watching us on this live stream right now. The scalability is infinite. So what do I teach guys? It's like, if you understand that scalability is infinite when it comes to your job, right? You go on LinkedIn, you understand that scalability is infinite when it comes to your 7 or 8 figure business. Why wouldn't scalability also be infinite when it comes to dating? When you look at like somebody like Dan Bilzerian, or what Playboy was doing for years, or what, whoever, Baddies Only, just pick somebody. Whenever you look at those different things, you kind of get a feeling and an understanding. Scalability works in their case as well. So whenever I have something like that, that's a theory, I want to test it because I don't like theory. It's not called the Men of Theory course. It's called the Men of Action course. There's no such thing. To me, it is a theory. The theory gets tested. And then after the test, you get a normal distribution. You get statistics. Those statistics tell you things like, for instance, 56% of the marriages in this country end in divorce, and 80% of those divorces are initiated by women. That should tell you something. That's not my opinion. That's a fact, right? Whenever you talk about 28%, the GSS survey, 28% of men report having 0 sexual partners in the United States in the last year. 0. What does that tell you? Lucario, have you ever shown a woman that statistic that 28% of men have 0 sexual partners? Have you ever shown them and seen their reaction?
And the thing is, they don't believe it because
they don't believe it.
They're fucking all the guys that are the attractive guys. You know what I'm saying? That's what happens.
I'm like, hey, do you remember when you went to Jack in the Box last night? That motherfucker who gave you the taquitos?
Right.
Who's fucking him? Tell me. Oh, I didn't even think. They don't even recognize that person exists. The cashier at Walmart. I've done this before. I've taken girls to Walmart and be like, who's fucking him? Tell me right now. Point that. Who's fucking him?
Right.
And they don't. And then they're like, oh, yes, not every dude is the fucking male stripper or the bartender you had a one-night stand with. Not every dude is like that, but they get that confused and they start believing that the whole world is like those dudes. And so that's one of those interesting things. Evolutionary psychology and statistics can teach us why the world the way it is, because I don't think we're going to change anything. I like all respect to those guys who are in MGTOW. I don't think we're going to, if we all pull our dicks away, that the women are just going to change their behavior. I don't believe that's the case because you're always outnumbered 100,000 to 1 by simps. Always.
Right.
Oh, it's always 99 to, like, again, you guys understand when I say alpha male, I don't mean to, I know there's some fucking woke people who find that term offensive. When I say alpha male, in every 2 gender species, there are a few exceptions. Like I said, bonobos are not like this. But for almost every 2 gender species, you have 1 or 2 elephant bull seals having sex with all the females. You have 1 or 2 gorillas having sex with all the females. You have 1 or 2 alpha male wolves or alpha male lions or tigers having sex with all the females. This is how evolution created us. We have 100 males and 100 females. You need 20 males to impregnate all the females. If you look on now think about what I just said. If we go on Tinder, the top 10% of men on Tinder are getting 63% of the right swipes. What does that tell you? That tells you hypergamy is real. Hypergamy can't offend you because it's real. If it's real, gravity can't offend you. When you say hypergamy and people get canceled, that's like me pushing somebody off my balcony and then trying to sue Isaac Newton. It's not. It's real. Hypergamy is real. Hypergamy is not my opinion. It's real. So if I can show that, it's
basically saying the top guys the guys who are the most attractive are basically gonna get the most women. And this is why I tell guys
it's infinite. It's infinite. It's scalable and it's infinite.
I say, listen, if you're the attractive dude, you're going to be the guy that most of the women want. So that's definitely on point. Now, what I found interesting about you is that I actually saw shout out to Alex of playing with fire. I saw a video that he interviewed you, and you guys were talking about how, you have your female friends, because I usually say I don't have female friends. I have like acquaintances, whatever, but it's all the same shit.
But you have acquaintances that introduce you to other girls.
Exactly.
Have you ever had that happen? Yes.
Right, exactly. So that's how I look at the same thing. So like when you do those situations, right? How does that help you in your business specifically? Because we're talking about networking. How does it help you in business? And also, how do you teach guys to do that? And then the last question on top of that is, I know some dudes are going to be like, man, these girls, because if you guys check his Instagram, it's a lot of hot women on the Instagram. Let me see if I could get your Instagram real quick.
Hey, by the way, shout out to Liddy Ward. She's a model. She's an actress. She's on here right now.
Let me go to your Instagram real quick. But because I know that a lot of these guys are going to be like, okay, I'm networking with all these women, but how do I get these women also into bed? And is that something you teach them, or do you say, hey, keep it business? And then all right. So let me pull up this Instagram real quick. Let me.
Hey, if any of the guys in MOA are on the call right now, type in the chat what we do when we talk about Bible study. What do we do? The answer, so first off, the term we use is after the event, and we call it Bible study. Bro, I am legit afraid of getting canceled. Lucario, I know you may have a different opinion. Right. They are coming after us. See, Lucario, they're not coming after us because we're offensive. They're coming after us because we're a protected class, we're a privileged class, men helping another privileged class men. They're coming after us, Lucario. That's why I say words like Bible study. There's some videos of me having Bible study right there. That's why we do this. You understand? And then you can see, like, yes, compliance and things like that. Now, the 3 questions. Let's go over those 3 questions because I want to get to
right. Because I was saying, like, hold
on. Yang said it. Turn off the recording. That's it. So when we get to that, it's we have a saying in MLA. It says turn off the recording. So we turn off the recording because, especially, here's one of the things, man. I don't want to get into a situation where you're on one of my calls and you're calling out somebody, right? I don't want to. We don't need to say girls' names. I just feel like that's kind of inappropriate. I'm not a pickup artist. We're not doing lay reports. But for an academic reason,
I agree with you. I don't do that either. But go ahead.
Yeah. For academic reasons, we may discuss this worked and this did not work. Okay, so let's go to the first thing. The first question was what? So
the first question is how does a guy, for example, because if you're teaching guys how to network, let's say with certain women and getting women to go to certain places, get them to go to parties to know more women. How do you get like the average dude who's like, man, you know what? I can't do this. What are like some of the steps that they would take?
Cool. Let's do it. So first off, if you guys are an MOA, write the 3 first steps in the chat so everybody can see we're all on the same page. Step number 1, Lucario, is we have to fix your social media. Remember we talked about scalability, right? Your social media, I don't need you to have 50,000 followers, but what I need, if you guys think that you're going to meet women and they're not going to check your IG, you're confused. They're all going to look for it. So your IG, like right now, it's 90% IG, a little bit of TikTok. There's a little bit of, like, for older gentlemen, it might be a little Facebook sprinkled in. For the most part, it's your Instagram. Like you can see, my Instagram is mostly my podcast. I don't know if you want to click on some of these; they're pretty funny. But like so that's the first thing. It's like you have to fix your Instagram. The second thing is, do you know what a vision board is? You remember how you ever seen guys have vision boards of like the Lamborghini and the money? So what I do is a vision board, but my vision board is a Excel spreadsheet with people I want to network with. I have an Excel spreadsheet, and it literally says David Goggins. It says Elon Musk. It says what's his name? Neil deGrasse Tyson. It says Andrew Huberman, Lex Friedman, Joe Rogan. These are people I want to network with. Alex Hormozy. That goes on the right side. On the left side is 4,000 female influencers that I want to network with, that I want to come to my parties. So that's what I do. So step number 1, fix your Instagram. Step number 2 is build your list. If I try to get you to message girls and your Instagram is messed up, it's like walking up to a girl with messed up teeth or your bad breath. Like it doesn't make any difference. Or like taking a girl back to your place and it's like you're in a basement with rusted pipes and like freaking her out. Your Instagram, you have to look at it almost like if I gave you my card and I was an attorney, and I was like, hey, come back to my office. If you come to my office and there's no couch, there's no rug, one of the walls is missing. That's what it looks like when you have an Instagram where it's just close-up pictures of you and your buddies drinking beer at a fucking college football game. That's terrible IG. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we got to fix that. Then number 2, and by the way, we actually have a program where some of the guys hire virtual assistants to do this. I'm about to give away the game right now. This is like the main thing that separates us from everyone else. You guys know that if you message a bunch of girls on Instagram, first off, they're going to put you in the request folder and they're not going to respond. So how do you solve that? There's 2 ways to solve that. Number 1, Lucario, in October, at the end of October, is going to be the Maxim Halloween party in Los Angeles. You probably won't. If you wanted to come, I could get you in. But if you didn't want to come, I could still put any girl you ask me to on the list for that party. Right. So think of all the baddies you've ever seen. You hit up your VA. You're like, I want you to hit up all these baddies and tell them, hey, I'll get you on the list for the Maxim party. What happens now is instead of being in that request folder, you have open threads with 4,000 women, Lucario. That's not an exaggeration. Now, if you guys know how the algorithm works on Instagram, what happens? When you have open threads with people, you're more likely to see their content, number 1. If you guys want to check right now, 91% of my engagement on Instagram is from people who don't follow me. Let me say that one more time. I get 1.4 million impressions a month on IG. 91% of my engagement is people who don't follow me. So when I'm constantly posting and I'm doing these things and I get these open threads with all these girls, now here's the third part. If I'm a promoter and I try to mass text a bunch of girls to come to an event, I'm just going to get put in the request folder. And if I look like a promoter, promoters are low status. There's nothing low status about being a promoter, but there's low status about looking like a promoter. So now instead of being in the request folder, what happens? I have open threads, like I said before. Oh, wait, this is the guy who invited me to Dan Bilzerian's house. Oh, wait, this is the guy who invited me to the Maxim party. Oh, This is the guy who invited me to the $130,000 Playboy bikini competition. Oh, this is the guy who invited me to Paradise Challenge. I remember this guy. And then he's like, okay, let's have a birthday party. And then we do the birthday. This is SLS Miami. Guys, I don't live in Miami.
Right.
I live in Las Vegas. This is me in Miami.
You know what's interesting too? I think what's interesting that people got to understand, and you said something very key and very important, because this is high level networking game right here that you guys are getting right now. What you got to understand is, and I tell guys this all the time, all of this is a numbers game, because you just said you got to get like 4,000 women that you got to try to talk to and get stuff going on. I think people underestimate how important the numbers game is when it comes to this, because when it comes to networking and interacting with people, you're going to be dealing with and interacting with a lot of different people, so that you're going to need to have a large number of people you're talking to in order to get a result. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Lucario, let's take it one step further, because again, my podcast is all about science. So if you guys want to look this up, it's called the central limit theorem in statistics, and it has to do. You guys remember that bell curve from high school? What happens is, as the number of approaches, we'll just say approaches, you approach women. As the number of approaches approaches infinity, you start having what's called a normal distribution, a bell curve. So what will happen is, okay, let's just say I approach 5 or 6. Well, they're going to be spotted all over the chart in different places. But as I get to 50,000, then you start seeing a normal distribution bell curve. But here's the other part about it, right? And this is why social media is so important. Let's just say the girl of your dreams, Lucario, let's just say in the United States, there's 330 million people. Let's just say for this state, there's 100,000 women, but they're in Des Moines. Okay, they're in Secaucus. Right. They're in Cheyenne, Wyoming. They're all over the place. But let's say we use social media and we use these events to take that 100. Could you imagine that 100,000 women that would just like completely are about Lucario? You don't have to do any work. They're just what you are about.
Right.
And we put them all in the same room. Imagine now, this is fishing with dynamite. Do you understand? That's what this creates. Again, you want to be in these situations. That's what Babes in Toyland is. That's what the Playboy Presents Yandy Summer Search is, bikini competition. That's what Paradise Challenge is. It's these situations where like I'm offering value. A promoter does not offer value. A promoter gets you to come to a table for free where his client hits on you and he offers you cocaine. Right. What we do is different. What we do is let's raise money for charity. Let me get you. And also, there's another thing. I get girls hired all the time. Let me tell you something else. If you're a guy friend of mine, you meet a lot of women. Like my guy friends get laid all the time, right? I'm pretty good. Like literally, I was a navigator in the military. I'm a legitimate wingman. Like, can I say one more thing? Go click out of this one real quick. That was a bikini competition I hosted in Miami.
I'm gonna click out of it.
Yeah, click out of this real quick. Do you see that girl in the middle, right there, the blonde, standing next to me while I have the white jacket on?
This one right here.
Okay, so let me break this down. That girl is Kindly Myers. Guys, look her up. Kindly is one of my closest friends in the whole world. She's married. She's been with the same guy for 10 years. Kindly is the greatest fucking wingman you have ever seen in your life. Imagine you go out to a club and the playmate of the year is arm in arm with you, introducing girls to you. Right. You have never, bro, it is like, you know what, Cyclops from the Marvel comics with the laser beam. That's what it's like, bro. It's like, it's a soup. I have to do nothing when I'm with Kindly. Nothing. I have another homegirl named CJ Sparks. It's the same way. I do nothing when I'm with them. So like I said before, my birthday party's on Thursday. There's 4 girls throwing my birthday party. They put 54 other girls in a group chat and they're going to do it. And so just to prove what I'm saying, Rolo's coming and he's going to document the whole thing.
That's dope. And this is like, you know, for a lot of you guys out there, especially when it comes to social circles, you know, this is another form of game of social circle. I mean, this is like high level social circle type of game. So now what's interesting about this is that, like I was saying, like, you know, you have the guys out there who are going to be networking and stuff like that. Now, what are some mistakes that you tell these guys, okay, listen, don't do this or don't do that because you're going to fuck up your whole like reputation, network, or whatever? What are some things that they shouldn't do in these situations?
So let's have this debate about intent, right? So here's the thing. Intent needs to be earned on both sides. Right. Your status gets her intent. She should not get your intent just because she's attractive. Right.
Right.
So she has to earn your intent. So here's the thing that happens with a lot of these girls, for whatever reason, like, again, maybe there's just too many girls. Maybe I'm just not attracted to them. Maybe I just see that, like, for instance, I'm friends with Crystal Hefner, Hugh Hefner's wife, right? His widow.
Right.
If you are a hardcore cold approach PUA and you think that you should game Crystal Hefner as opposed to getting invited to the Playboy Mansion, I'm sorry, you're just a fool. Like, I would do anything for that woman. Are you kidding me? You want me to hit on Hugh Hefner's wife? I don't. For some guys, you don't see how counterproductive that is. Right. I don't hit on her, and I meet 100 more girls. There's the mistake.
That's game for y'all right there.
There's the mistake, right? And here's the situation. Like, you'll create a situation like go up. That's my birthday party from 2 years ago. You see where we're in the water, top middle. Go up just a little bit.
Up, down, like this way. Oh, right here. Okay, let me click
that's the one. Yeah.
Right,
so this was during the middle of COVID. This was October 3rd, 2020, during the middle of COVID. Bro, let me tell you something. During COVID, it was easy to throw photo shoots because girls had nowhere to go. This became like the club. We would rent out mansions and throw photo shoots, and it became a nightclub. It became the club during COVID, bro. It was so fun back then. Anyway, so I had 54 girls at my birthday party that all came out for this, and we did a photo shoot for the whole thing. It's counterproductive in those situations to physically escalate at all because you're doing it in front of other women. And like, the thing is, you don't have to because they're the ones escalating. Does that make sense? And if you need an example of this, I would recommend reading The Setup by Dan Bilzerian. You guys know Dan and I are good friends.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of people in there like, oh, Dan pays girls. Dan does not pay girls. Dan will hire girls sometimes for the modeling events, but he does not pay women for sex. You heard Tristan Tate. He just went on and talked about it. That is not what happened. That is not how it works.
And how'd you meet Dan Bilzerian? How did that happen? Like,
So I was friends with this attorney, this entertainment attorney in Los Angeles. Shout out to Usman Sheikh. Usman, it was really weird. So I was out one night with Mystery and Matador, and I think Cosmo and maybe Love Drop from the.
Oh, that's the pickup artist show.
Yeah,
right?
Pickup artist. Yeah. So I was one night. Me and Eric and I are old friends. So Eric hit me up, and we were hanging out. And then I got a message from Usman saying, "Hey, we're gonna go to Bilzerian's house tonight. Bilzerian wants to meet Matador and Mystery." So I have a photo. There's a photo on my IG. It's me, Mystery, Matador, Dan Bilzerian at his house. And I went there and I met him, and we kind of connected or whatever. I met Abigail Ratchford there for the first time. She's a famous model now, but back then she wasn't that famous. She just showed up that day. And then we didn't really talk again for a year. He came out. He talks about it in the book. He got paid $70,000 to just come party at Marquee one night. I was there that night. I hung out with him in his bungalow. And then, I helped him. We did a couple of video shoots. I was a drone pilot back then, so I helped him with that. And then what happened was, when the book came out, I was the first person to finish it. He had a hand-delivered copy sent to me. And then we bumped into each other several times. After the book came out, we started talking a lot more because one of the things I found out from Dan is that our philosophies, I live in the same building he used to live in. I live in Tower 1 Panorama here in Las Vegas. Our philosophies are very, very, very similar. And a lot of the things he said in the book, I had been saying to my clients for years. It's just the book kind of echoed the things that I was saying. Regardless of what you think about Dan, the fact of the matter is he does really well with women. He does not pay them for sex. That is unequivocal. Go try to find the girls he pays for sex. He does not. So that's the issue. What happens is girls do try to sleep with him to try to get on his IG. Hell yes, they do. That 100% is that is true. But the other part is just kind of difficult for some people to deal with.
Interesting.
Okay, Zulu Beat says he name drops a lot. Well, you guys did ask me the question. It is a networking. It is a networking course, Zulu.
Right, and this is the thing. This is why it's important to name drop these in this context, because understand, when we're talking about networking, right? Understand that if you're trying to make money, if you're trying to make moves, if you're trying to get to a certain place, and sometimes in certain situations, if you're trying to get into certain situations where certain types of women are at, right? It's going to be easier for you to make things happen if you know this person or that person. You see what I'm saying? And also you got to understand that in the context of networking, that's very important. You see what I mean? Because what happens is that if you're the type of person who's trying to get to a certain level, right? You can get there faster by networking and knowing certain people than it would, because sometimes where you're trying to go, it would probably take you 5 to 10 years versus 5 to 10 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Based off who you know what I mean?
So let's talk about this, right? So who are we as humans, right? What is the thing that makes us different from other animals? So a couple things. We have opposable thumbs. We have the ability, I don't know if you know this, no other primate can throw objects overhand. You know how we do a baseball pitch? Like Primates, apes cannot throw overhand. Humans can. Why would they do that? It's because we're hunters. We have kneecaps. We're able to walk long distances. There was one gentleman, he walked from the Bering Strait all the way to the tip of Argentina. We're long distance hunters and we're teammates. Men have been, since the beginning of Homo sapien existence, men have been working in groups together in order to accomplish goals. This is why the NFL owns a day of the week, because you're cheering for your team of men who are accomplishing a goal together. Do you understand?
Right.
There's one guy in here who's talking about social circle game doesn't count. What was it? I read it up here. I lost
somebody said social circle game doesn't count. Are they crazy?
No. So read it up. It's one of your comments. He was talking about this is just like using money, right? Because the man isn't the one doing the accomplishment. Here's what you're missing. The man networks. You read facial expressions. You have the ability to express yourself vocally. This is a function. Here we go. He goes, Mr. L, it's simping when social circle does the job instead of the man. It's the same as money can go away and make you replaceable. Here's the problem. As a man, your network is your net worth. Your value as a man. Listen to Justin Waller talks about this. How do you become, he goes, become valuable to other men. Your place as a man in a lot of cases is what you can do, is how you can perform. You believe that you're just a special snowflake and that people are going to love you just because you're a man. You can love yourself for sure. Your family can love you. Your internal beliefs about yourself, that's one thing. Go meditate, whatever. That I understand that. But externally, you do not make $1 billion because of your beliefs about yourself. You make $1 billion because you solve other people's problems, because you become useful to other people. So when you talk about as a man, let's think, to me, the most masculine men who ever lived, you know who they were? Those men who stormed Normandy back in the 1940s to go up against those German machine guns, knowing full well they were going to fucking die at Omaha Beach. Right. Those men worked together as a team. Their masculinity was in that they were going to die for their brother. So please understand, when we talk about networking, that is a function of it. You as a man, while that is important for you to understand your value individually as a man, your value also comes from your value to help other people, to create. So again, see that number 6 right there in the middle? That's the 6-year anniversary for Monday's Dark. We helped them raise $1.4 million for charities in Las Vegas, $10,000 per charity. We helped them do that. We became valuable to other people who are sufferers from domestic abuse, people who are sufferers from like homelessness, helping try to find cures for cancer. We became valuable to other people. Your worth as a man, in part, not total, but in part comes, again, I love this example. You know, waste management, you know, Wayne Huizenga, he used to own the Miami Dolphins. Right. He had a company called Waste Management. They clean shit. They clean diapers, human waste, and put it into landfills. The guy's a billionaire because he was cleaning shit. Not because he followed his passion, but because he solved problems for other people. Become useful to other people if you want to be successful, a great networker, and have an incredible job, an incredible life, or to make millions of dollars. You have to solve problems for other people. That's why I was saying before. Right.
And also, too, to answer Dan's question, as far as you're saying the social circle gets the job done. The thing is that the social circle can get the job done, but you are the one that's creating the opportunities in that social circle. So it's still coming from you. Because the thing is this, like if Michael was just some asshole that nobody liked, nobody would talk to you. Like nobody would you know what I mean, want to be around you. They'd be like, get out of here. He's the worst. So you got to understand that it's you who's bringing these situations together. Like you were saying, you would get like 100 girls to come to an event. You would do interviews with Dan Bilzerian, Spencer Cornelia, and all these other people. And that's because you're able to interact. Like, for example, the reason why we're even doing this podcast right now is because I did a response video to the...
Yes, so we should talk about that.
We're going to get into that in a second. I did a response video to the video you did with Rolo, and then you hit me up on the Instagram and was like, hey, what's up? What's going on? We should do a podcast. And I was like, yeah, let's make it happen. So networking is why y'all are watching us right now. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. Let's say one other thing. Like when you were critical of some of the things I said, but you didn't make it personal, right? Exactly. I'm not gonna say the names of some guys. Speaking of Alex from Playing with Fire, he just dumped somebody from his crew because he made it personal. Right. You don't make it criticism should not be personal. If you guys don't believe in what I'm saying, that's fine. Here's one thing I would tell you guys. If anything I want you to take from this, don't believe anything I'm saying. Go look for the receipts on IG. I will give you. You go to my website. Look at the testimonials, and I recommend absolutely no one even consider joining my program until you've talked to 2 or 3 other people currently in the program.
Right.
I am not afraid. My receipts are there to be exposed. If you don't believe what I'm saying, here's the thing. If you don't believe what I'm saying, go ahead and call me out, call my bluff. But if you call me out, my name, and you don't stand behind your words, you're a bitch. I'm just going to call you a bitch to your face, because you can't, if you want to talk shit behind my back and you don't want to say it to my face, that's fine. But that's where you'll never go. There's nobody who makes those YouTube comments who has ever run a 7-figure business, ever.
Right.
You are literally, I'm not saying this because I'm angry at you. I'm saying this because when you do that, you are dooming yourself to failure. Dooming yourself to failure. If you are critical of what I'm saying or skeptical, then take the time to criticize what I'm doing, but you got to do the research. You can't just say it. Stand behind your words. Be a man. Be a man of action. Don't be a man who talks on YouTube. Be a man of action. That's one of the main things that I try to teach my guys. It's called passive aggressive behavior. Rule number 5 in MOA: we don't talk shit about people behind their back. Right? I wasn't going to go on my platform and be like, I can't believe what Mr. Lucario said. I hit you up.
Right.
I hit you up.
Exactly.
You understand?
And that's
because for those of you who don't know, me and Lucario, I'm turning 45 tomorrow. Me and Lucario are over 40.
Right.
Back in the day, if we had a problem, we went and saw that motherfucker face to face, and we dealt with the problem. I just look like, I'm from East Dallas. I just look like this. I'm trying to tell you, we would sit there and we would deal with the shit. In Austin, Texas, when I'm a Longhorn at UT Austin, we would get in a fight at the bar, and the next day we were cool because we dealt with the problem face to face. We didn't deal with the problem over YouTube comments.
Right.
Okay. Being a YouTube commenter is a surefire way to ensure that you don't have success. Coming to parties and meet rich guys.
Dan said the IG shows a lot of women aren't most of these coming. Them coming to the parties to meet rich men, say they don't give a fuck about him as a man. Anyone who's a part of that social circle would do.
Okay, so again, Dan, here's the thing, man. Dan, so here's what you do. Every one of those girls is tagged in the photos. Every one of them. Okay. You can ask them if you want, or do whatever else that you need. There's some of the girls that are in the chat right now. If evidence is presented to you that your hypothesis is incorrect, would you receive that evidence, or would you still believe your hypothesis? If you receive the evidence, you're a scientist. If you don't receive the evidence, you're dogmatic. You just believe in something to believe it. What I say is so antithetical to what so many people believe that when I provide irrefutable visual evidence, instead of accepting the evidence, they just get angry. They're all there for rich men. No, these girls who are, I don't spend money on women ever. Let's get into the 7 dates thing, by the way. If she's my girlfriend, I do. But other than that, I don't. When the girls who are coming to my event on Thursday, they're not coming to meet rich men. They're coming to celebrate my birthday because they are my teammates. I'm the quarterback. They're the wide receiver. We play pick and roll defense together. Like they are my teammates. Like I told you before, Conley Meyer, CJ Sparks, greatest wingmen who have ever lived. That girl right there in the pink, that girl right there. She's a professional shooter, has 2 master's degrees. She's raising 3 fucking kids. She's an FHM model, and she invites me on her podcast and helps me grow my platform. That is my fucking homie. You understand what I'm saying? Like, especially women who help you make money, bro. I'm telling you, like, this is the thing. It's about the networking. It's about the teammates. But let's go back to what you said before. What do men want? What do men at high status social situations, what do they want to see? Beautiful women. But here's the other thing. What do women want to see at high status social situations? They also want to see beautiful women.
Right. And also, too, the thing is that a lot of guys don't understand this, is that, see, most guys are so intimidated when they see women that look like this. They're like, oh, she would never want to talk to me. And she would only want a guy who is rich and famous and all this other stuff, because that's the perception that they've been taught to believe. But if they were actually in these situations and actually talk to these women, you know what I'm saying, have a conversation, they would see that that's not actually the case. You see what I'm saying? Because just like you said, you just described this woman in the pink and what's going on in her life, what y'all relationship and all those type of things. But just from seeing the picture, somebody might look at the picture and say, "Oh, well, she just wants a rich guy." You know.
Jay, I got news for you. Almost all of you in this chat, Jamie Villamore makes more money than all of you. I'm not trying to front. Jamie Villamore does not need your money. One of the girls I'm seeing right now, she's a huge model. She makes so much money, bro. Like dude, OF, we should have a whole discussion on what OnlyFans has done to some of these models. They don't need your fucking money anymore, guys. They don't, man. They don't.
Way too much money on OnlyFans. It's ridiculous.
So let's talk about a couple of things. Dan, I would invite you, Dan, to come on the call. It's free call. I don't want to sell you anything, Dan. I would like for you to come on a free call or hit me up on Instagram, and I will go step by step with you, showing each individual thing that you're saying why it's wrong. I'm not going to raise my voice. I'm not going to be mean about it. I'm going to be cool. We're going to have a discussion about it. But if I do that, you got to come back on here and you have to tell the truth about what you see. Okay. That's the only thing that I ask, because that happens a lot of times where guys will sit there and talk shit. And then I'll bring them to one of my events. They'll meet like 40 girls and I'll be like, okay, I brought you. Now you got to go back in that Telegram group where you were talking shit. You got to tell the truth now. A lot of times they don't do it. I am, you,
as Dan said,
you meet and smash those type of chicks with those fancy parties, IG status. So you always teach us it's about the man. I know affiliate sales, but okay, I don't really understand the affiliate. It kind of is like affiliate sales, I guess.
But this is what you got to understand, Dan, is that these type of women, I'll hook up with some women like this, but also there's also women that I've hooked up with like this that I met at networking parties. You see what I'm saying? Like, remember I told you guys, I used to go to meetup events and all these other things a lot. And I would meet these women, and some of my boys who would throw these parties, I met them at the parties. A lot of the hottest girls that I hooked up with were at these parties that I met, and I met them there through a guy I knew who told me to come to the party. You see what I'm saying?
Dan, do this. Dan, if you can ever get in a conversation with some of the hottest girl you ever met in your life, just ask them one question. The last guy that you dated, how did you meet him?
Right.
Watch how many times you hear a girl introduce me to a guy and how few times you hear some guy did cold approach with me in a mall. I'm telling you, I'm talking about the hottest girls. Because here's the problem, Dan. It's like you can't, some of these parties that you're seeing, no offense, but some of you guys would not physically be able to get into the Victoria's Secret Diamond Party. You can if you do what I do, you can. And then I teach you to do that. So again, it's one of these situations where, if you guys ever, the Playboy Mansion is obviously closed because Hugh Hefner died and the house was sold. But when the Playboy Mansion was going, I would go to the Playboy Mansion. And whenever I was at the Playboy Mansion, the craziest thing happened, Lucario. They were the most beautiful women I'd ever seen in my life. But they were so fucking nice to me. Right. Every girl there was just, why were they nice to me? Why do you think every girl there was so nice?
That's real shit. It's because the thing is that first of all, they're going to be nice because you're in that same situation with everybody else in that situation.
Yes. Lucario, next time you come to Vegas, I'm going to take you on stage at Dre's. Right. Okay. It's going to be you, me, Gucci Man, and fucking Juicy J. Watch every girl we're on stage with is so fucking nice to you. Because like, how did this guy get on stage? Who is this dude? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what happens. It's a different world when you get like to the marquee. Go up to the one on the top right there, where in the pink.
Go over here and let me get to this.
One more to the right. The girls are all in pink and painted.
Right. This one right here.
Yeah. So again, it's one of these situations where like, while I understand what you guys are saying, how do you get into the Candyland party? There's a technique to get into the Candyland party. You guys understand those high status men. Remember we were talking about before, 10% of men are getting 63% of the right swipes. Right. The top 20% of men of Tinder are getting 80 something percent of the right swipes. Those dudes in those cities don't want you there, guys. They don't. Those of you who are watching this shit, there's not a group of men who are around a bunch of beautiful women who are like, fucking, man, I can't wait to get more of these PUAs and these guys in the seduction community and these red pill guys to come to my fucking party. Nobody's doing that. By the way, you see that car? That's the only picture of a car of all of my shit. You do not see a single watch. You do not see a single car anywhere in my shit except for that one. That was the only one. And it was a joke because I was like, oh, look, I just fell out of the IA. The thing, I do not use 100%. I do not use money in what I do in any way whatsoever. Because if I did, how would I be able to coach guys who didn't have money, right? So just going back to what I was saying before, the 3 steps, remember the first step was fix your Instagram. The second step was to build that list. The third step was to find girls that were down for you, teammates, right? Like girls that would invite you, introduce you to other girls or help you throw events. That's essentially what would happen. Dan, I don't know what city you live in. Hey, look, CJ Sparks, there she is. You see her right there? That is, guys, hit up CJ Sparks. That is the wing girl of the century. No, she's commenting right now.
Okay. Shout out to CJ.
Shout out to CJ Sparks, man. Shout out to she's the host of the Inside OnlyFans podcast. So there we go. So just going back to what, she's a multiple time playmate. So going back to what I said before, while for some of you it may be, well, this is inauthentic, right? Because you're using these techniques to network with people you wouldn't normally network with. Ask yourself the question. You are part of a species where all of its power comes from networking. If you have a problem with that, read the book Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. Okay. That's how it works. Also, let me tell you something else. If any of you guys ever been in the infantry and the military, one of the things that you're going to find in the military is one of the things they do is they put you behind a berm and they start firing live bullets at you. So you can hear what it sounds for those live bullets to go by your head. That's called immersion. They're immersing you in that sound of those bullets coming by. Imagine the lifestyle that you see on here, and then a beautiful woman walks up to you. I'm not trying to brag, but do you guys think that my voice changes when beautiful women walk up to me? Do you think I change my behavior in any way whatsoever? Or do you think I'm just exactly the same way I am now?
Right, because you're used to it. It's like
because I'm used to it. Yes.
This is what's so good about this is because you know what it is for a lot of guys when they look at stuff like this seems too much for them because they're not used to this type of situation. But see, when you learn to network and you're in these environments, it becomes normal to you. It becomes an everyday thing to you. You see what I'm saying? And so therefore, even when this is what I tell you guys, when I tell you guys and I teach you, listen, the reason why you're having trouble with women is a lot of times you put them on a pedestal. And you're putting them on a pedestal because you're like, well, she's hot. Oh my God, it's the hottest girl I've ever seen. But if you see hot women all the time, it's not a big deal. You're like, okay, This is cool or whatever. So it is what it is. But I wanted to switch gears for a second and actually talk about the clip.
Yes, let's do it.
I have two clips. So and this is interesting because
I was just getting dunked on for 90 minutes.
Right. So right, we were talking about this. So I critiqued this, and because you were saying basically about how you would go on 7 dates with a girl. So I'm going to play this clip, and then we're gonna talk about this. Let's check this out.
From a micro perspective, meaning from my standpoint,
check this out.
Specifically, anecdotally. I don't care because I'm seeing so many other women. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I've definitely had women make me wait 7 dates, but I didn't notice. I was like, after the fact, I was like, wow, this girl made me wait 7 dates. And I was like, I will definitely wait 7 dates. You're amazing. The problem is you understand I'm seeing 4 other girls. Just as long as you understand that I'm seeing 4 other girls.
Not exclusively.
And because my dates are so fun for me, I only go on dates that are fun for me. Yes.
Cool. So when I saw that, I was like, man, 7 dates to get with a chick. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the thing is, the point I was trying to make is that I was seeing other people. There was a specific girl. I won't say her last name. Her first name was Jana. And this was back in 2012. And I would go on what's called industry outings. So basically what's happening tomorrow, I'm taking 20 girls to see Aerosmith at Park MGM. And so we're going on stage to see Steven Tyler. Actually, like he put this program together where we bring girls up there. On Mondays, we would take girls to Beauty and Essex, or we take them to SDK. And then on Thursday, I'm taking 54 girls to Zook. Rolo said the word dates. This girl came to 7 industry outings with me. So she came one time if you guys have been in Vegas like 10 years ago, it was Monday at SDK. It was Tuesday at Pure. It was Thursday at Surrender. It was Wednesday at Surrender. It was Thursday at Hayes. And she would come out to a bunch of these things. She had come to like 7 of them, and then we went home together. These are all comps, by the way. You're not paying for any of these. Right. You may tip. Like for my birthday, I'll probably tip just because I'm for like the waitress. If she busts her ass, I'm definitely going to tip her. But for the most part, you don't spend money on these things. Like you just like for my birthday with Bulgarian, it was 53 girls and unlimited bottles. That's generally how it works. So when I said the word date, I should not have said the word date. So I apologize. I would not recommend you guys go to 7 or even 3 sit down dates with a woman waiting for sex. I do agree with you as far as that's concerned, because it becomes problematic. In fact, CJ, who's on here, we have these discussions all the time. She agrees. Like it's just one of these situations. You'd be surprised. Like there's some women out there, like especially women who are, have been through a lot of relationships that actually agree with a lot of the stuff you say. A lot of stuff Rolo says they actually do. But there's a lot of them who are still kind of living in that Disney, you know what I'm saying, mindset where basically I'm Cinderella and I deserve perfection. And, we as men, we don't deserve shit. We have to work for everything. We have to play the game on hard mode. We have to work for everything. Part of us working for everything is our network. That's why I teach the whole idea of networking. But yeah,
right. So yeah, so you were saying you was going on events with them,
and I sent you the photos of the events. I sent you literally what I was doing. It's me and like 20 girls.
Yes, definitely. So that's interesting. So basically, you're saying that you went to 7 outings, 7 events, and this girl was at these events and stuff like that. So yeah, that means
we don't really date here in Vegas. And I wish it was maybe some guys, if there anyone in the chat who knows what I'm talking about. What'll happen is, so Sunday night, my homegirl Masha, she won the $130,000 bikini competition. It was her birthday party. So I show up to her birthday party. Her table is her and her gorgeous female friends. And then the next table over is 20 models that are there because Millennium is playing. We're on stage at Tao Beach. That would be like a date. Like I left, like there's girls there that I'm seeing and we may leave together to go to dinner or go to breakfast or something like that. Does that make sense?
Right.
So it's very different. There's no like real sit down. It's weird in Vegas because there's so many women here compared to the men. It's hard. You don't really do that kind of dating. You're always with like 20 or 30 people.
So let me ask you a question because I know that because since you're in a lot of these events, you're hosting a lot of stuff, you're doing a lot of different things. I'm sure there's certain women that try to come at you just in a specific way. So how do the women come at you? Because they're like, man, I see you with all these women. Like, do you try to set something up, or does the women just throw themselves at you because they're in these situations with all these women?
Yeah,
so
it's completely contextual. Guys, I would recommend a book for you guys. It's called Why Women Have Sex by Dr. Cindy
that's a definitely good
and Dr.
book.
David Buss.
Right.
And one of the things is, so let's go back to statistics. For men, our distribution of what we find attractive. Do you remember Selma Hayek in Dusk Till Dawn?
Right. Mm-hmm.
She was bad as a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody doesn't think she was hot. No man, bro. If you don't like white girls, Margot Robbie in remember Wolf of Wall Street,
right?
Margot Robbie, dude. Remember that scene where she's in the hot tub, when she's in the bathtub? As men, if I said how many of you guys think she's fine? All of us would think she's fine. So our distribution is what's called positive kurtosis. It's a narrow distribution of things that we as men find attractive: facial symmetry, signs of youth, hip to waist ratios, things like that. Okay, nice skin, stuff like that.
Right.
For women. What does that book say? Why women have sex? There's 237 reasons why women have sex with men. So to answer your question, there's 237 things that'll happen, but they all kind of go back to sexual selection and validation. You talk about before, very important thing that you say often. She needs to earn, when we talk about intent, she needs to earn my intent. If my intent has a value to it. There's a time component to it. There's a resource component to it. There's an effort component to it. There's, in order to get my intent, she has to earn my intent. So the reality of the situation is it's the entire spectrum. There's definitely been situations where a girl is like, I'm coming to Vegas. Here's some nudes. I want you to take me everywhere and I'm staying at your place. And I've definitely had situations where a girl was like, I'm coming to Vegas and I want you to take me on stage at this club. And there's no intent on her position or mine to do anything. And she brings like 6 of her homegirls, and then one of her homegirls likes me. That's also happened. There's one of the things that I like to express to guys is fucking chaos. It's here when you're in a situation like this, it's not, I like Sarah, and then so I'm going to go after Sarah when there's 5 other girls there. You like Sarah, so you take Sarah to excess. You guys are watching Marshmello on stage. Then you leave and go to Dre's because Gucci Man's on stage at Dre's. Then one of Sarah's homegirls starts dancing with you from behind. Then you check her out. You're like, man, that girl's fine as shit. Then you leave and go to the Rhino. Then you're hanging out at the Rhino. And then her other homegirl is like, hey, we're kind of into each other. Do you want, like, it's fucking
it's all over
chaos.
It's like
fucking chaos. Yes.
Place, right. So, and let me ask you this. So with your, when you teach the guys to network, right? I'm sure you've come across this where a guy probably is like, Michael, come on, man. You're tall, you're good looking, you got shit going on. You could do this, but I can't. I'm just this regular guy. So how am I going to get even these women to like pay attention to me or take me seriously? Like what? I'm sure had that guys ask that question. So.
Hey, I was wondering. So that the thing I put in the private chat, can we copy and paste that? Hold on.
Let me see if I could.
No, I think I can. Hold on. Can we copy this? Okay, this is not all of them, but let me. Oh, can I post in the private chat? I can't post in the comments.
Let me see if I can take one of these.
Okay. From
the private. Let me click on one of them and then see if I can.
I wouldn't click on them. I put them all in the private chat. Okay, these are all like testimonials. The point is, because I don't want to call him out personally. I have a client that's under 5 feet tall, and he's surrounded by women. I have if you guys looked at those, there's the typical, the Asian client, the Indian client, the guy who's very short, the black guy who only dates white girls, all the things where you get the normal fucking rejection responses. I cover all of them. The answer is unequivocally, this will work for anyone. The only way this doesn't work in a regular chat, I could put it in a regular chat, copy and paste it. Yeah, can you put it in the regular comments, that thing that in the private chat?
Yeah, so I'll put that. Those are all the links right there. You guys could.
Yes, is that all of them? Hold on, there might be a few more that I'm missing, but I have every week I put more of them in that group.
Yeah, but you guys can check. You guys could click on that and check those. So yeah, there's different types of people. You know what I'm saying? that you could. Aussie said, "Do you ever have time to sleep?"
Hold on, I put 2 more in there if you want to put those 2 more, because I have guys who are a bit overweight. I have guys who live in different countries, Singapore, guys who live in different places. There's no excuse. I've got South America in there. I've got guys who are over. There's one grandfather I've got. He's 49 years old, and he's a grandfather, and he's out there doing this. I've got 3 F-18 pilots in my program. I've got 2 professors at Ivy League universities in my program. There is no excuse. There is no excuse.
So you guys see,
the other thing is, but can I be real with you guys?
Yeah.
I'm not going to make excuses for the fact that I'm 45 years old and in shape. That's your fault that you're not in shape. That's not my fucking fault. Okay. I chose to not drink. I don't drink any alcohol or smoke cigarettes. That's I will say, if you want me to apologize for being in shape, I'm not going to apologize. You get to be in shape. That we as men, if you want to know your boundaries and be worthwhile to a woman, then work on your fucking self and do not begrudge other people for working on themselves. That's the only thing I would say to that.
I agree with that, because I feel like there's so much in this space where people are always like, it's like they're mad at you for doing what you done did to get where you're at. It's like, listen, if you want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't get mad at somebody else for being where they at. You know what I mean? So it says, Aussie said, "Do you ever have time to sleep?" So what's like? Cause you look like you have a crazy schedule. So how do you manage?
Have you ever read the book Why Beautiful People Have More Daughters by Satoshi Kanazawa? One of the best evolutionary psychology books. I would highly recommend all you guys check it out. The David Allen, Satoshi Kanazawa. He wrote a second book called The Intelligence Paradox. And basically he goes over the heritability of intelligence, which is a very, very controversial subject, right? If you have 2 smart parents, then it's cool to have smart kids. But if you have 2 dumb parents, then that means something very different. And people send their kids to like private schools to try to make their kids smarter, but intelligence is heritable. Anyway, in this book, he talks about people with higher IQs. Get ready for it. They're more likely to cheat. They're more likely to stay up late, and they're more likely to have messy apartments or messy rooms. The reality of the situation is what I do is this. I used to fly special ops in the Air Force. We would go to base ops around 10 p.m. and we'd come home around 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. We would fly anywhere from 6 to 10-hour missions over Iraq and Afghanistan. When we come back, we'd stay out the whole night. When I'd come home, I just kind of got used to that. And so when I moved to Vegas, one of the things I do is I get most of my work done from 11. I go to the gym at 10 p.m. I get most of my work done from 11 p.m. until 4 a.m. On the nights that I want to go out, that 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., I'm not tired. So like for my birthday, the DJs in Vegas don't come on until 1 a.m. So I just shifted my schedule to the right, and I go to bed around 4 or 5 in the morning, and I wake up around 10 a.m. I'm 45, so I don't need that much sleep. I need about 5 hours and 45 minutes of sleep. So that's generally what I do. And about 10, 11 o'clock. And then I usually, because I work for a financial firm, I'm a quantitative analyst for a financial firm. I also trade till about 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is generally what I do. Then I have my first calls that usually happen around 2 p.m. Then I have my work calls that happen around 4 p.m. And then usually I'm going to do whatever social thing I'm going to do around 7 or 8 p.m. And then we might go out to a club around midnight or 1.
I love it. And you know what I love is about that. I talk to people about how important time management is. Yeah. Because, in order to be able, because people are like, oh, I don't have, listen, if you have good time management, you can do so many things. You know what I mean? And so Unique 79 said in the chat, he said, Michael, I live in London, England. Do you have a network?
Unique 79, go to that list that I just sent you right there. Look up a gentleman. His name is, where is it at? Is he on here? John Hindley. Oh, it didn't go all the way through. See, JOHNKHINDLEY. Look up John Hindley and also Sam McGregor. I want to say maybe 8 or 9 guys in London. Yeah, for sure. Well, Sam is actually in Scotland, but definitely the guy he's one of my success coaches from London is John Hindley. Make sure you look him up.
All right, so we about to get to the end of it. So Michael, tell people where they can find you. How they can join, the Men of Action, you know what I'm saying? Everything, like tell them where they can get all the stuff, how they can get down with the program. Let them know that, they just can't be your friend just to get some hot girls. Cause I know there's some guys like, hey, let's be cool so we can
yeah. Hey, listen, if I got time for you, for sure, come out here. And by the way, if you guys happen to be in Las Vegas on Thursday night and you want to come to my birthday party, you can come after 12:30 a.m. at Zook. Just tell people that you're there for my birthday party. I don't know how it's going to work. I'm bringing 50 girls, but the guys can't come until the end. That's kind of how we do it in Vegas. Girls have to walk in first and then the guys can come later at the end. So here's basically what I would tell you. MOAmentoring.com is where you're going to find the intro to the program, and then also like all of the testimonials and case studies. I'd recommend you guys go through that. I'd also recommend you guys go on my Instagram if you need more receipts for what it is that what I do. Like, for those of you who don't believe that, you know, Paris Hilton, Andrew Tate, and Dan Bilzerian, well, actually Andrew Tate not anymore because he doesn't have an account, but they all followed me, and there was a reason why. Okay, if you guys want to go check that out, you can definitely go check that out on Instagram. I would recommend you guys check out the podcast. The point of the podcast is intellectual curiosity. It's the Michael Sartain podcast that comes out every Wednesday at noon Pacific. And then if you guys are like, hey, Michael, I want to learn about this, but I'm not interested in paying any money, that's fine. Join the Discord server. We have a Discord server. We got a bunch of free content. And every other Monday, we do a free call. And I will stay on that motherfucker for 7 hours and answer every single question. Don, I see you asked a couple questions there. Dan, I want to see you next Monday and ask every single question live on the call. But I have one caveat. You have to turn your camera on, because we're the men of action group. We're not the men of dithering, the men of blathering. We're not the men of bullshit or the men of theory. We're not the men of trauma release. We're the fucking men of action group. So if you come on my call.
Mossy in the building. Shout out to Rolo.
Okay, one other thing. So there's one other thing. Rolo and I are hosting a live stream, 10 p.m. PST. We wanted to do it because we wanted to wait till Fresh and Fit are over. By the way, shout out to Walt. Walter from Fresh and Fit. He just had his birthday. Yeah, he just had his birthday. I told him happy birthday the other day. I'm going on Fresh and Fit in November or December. So when their show is over on Friday, come over and check out Rolo and I. We're doing a show. It's called Access Vegas, where we talk about logistics and access. We're going to talk about we're going to talk about female psychology, male psychology, evolutionary psychology, and we're going to talk about, again, one of these things. Just imagine if you have game. Now imagine you have game and I take you to the Playboy Mansion. Ching, you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine you're the best basketball player in the Greek basketball league, and you make $600,000 a year. But if I take you to the NBA, and you're the best basketball player there, now you're making $40 million a year. That's the thing. We want to put you in the best logistical situations. We teach you how to do that. So check us out. It's going to be live streamed on my channel and on Rolo's channel. It's called Access Vegas. We're going to do that 10 p.m. PST on Friday. And CJ Sparks is going to be a guest. Isabella James is going to be a guest. That girl, Jamie Villamore, that you saw, the shooter, she's going to be a guest.
Right.
And then our fourth guest, I believe we're going to have Claudia Fajal is going to be our fourth guest. So we have 3 playmates and a girl who can shoot a fucking fly off a donkey's ass at 200 yards. So
that's what's up, man. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you taking time out, letting people know what it is. And guys, all of the links are going to be at the bottom of the this video when you watch the playback. Unique 79 is going to put all the links so that you guys can check it out. But yeah, man, Mike, man, I appreciate this, bro. And when I'm in Vegas, I'm gonna definitely hit you up, man. You know what I'm saying?
Please hit me up. What I want to make some vlog. I want the when you do your videos.
Yeah.
I want you to do one on stage with me.
Oh yeah, I'm down.
At like Tao Beach, and then because one of the things I love is that I teach networking while I'm networking. I was saying this before. You want to call me out for name dropping? Here, get ready for this one. I was the only person in the world with Andrew Tate and Dan Bilzerian's phone number a year ago. In the world, call me out on that. I am teaching networking while I'm networking. That's the thing. I don't talk about it. I be about. Imagine Mike Tyson talking shit versus Mike Tyson knocking you out. I don't talk about it. I be about it. If that's the kind of ethos that you're about, if you guys are former military members, obviously I'm a U.S. Air Force captain. If you guys are former military members and that's what you're about, you're former football players. If you can understand communication like that, this is the fucking program you want to join.
Exactly. That's how you be a man of action, people. All right, y'all. So we will see you guys next time. Appreciate y'all. Remember, the truth is inside you. We out.